It is the vagus nerve that is bringing the back of the tongue up onto the roof of the mouth. So just having the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and then this up-down motion of the jaw and the tongue, because the tongue is stuck up here, but there's a pulling down on the tongue, which does this suckling motion. And that is continually massaging the vagus nerve. I will be teaching holographic breathing. So for the new people, I'll be teaching holographic breathing. I will describe and demonstrate it now so that you've got an idea of what that is, and then I will talk about the other things we're going to do, and then there'll be a guided meditation where everything will unfold in the guided meditation. So in holographic breathing, the lips are relaxed and closed, the upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and with the lips still closed, on the in-breath the jaw gently opens, and on the out-breath the jaw gently closes. And it's a small motion of the jaw, 2 or 3 millimeters, half a finger width. And in the guided meditation, I talk people into it because it's a little bit counterintuitive. And at a certain point, there's an activation where it just aligns with the muscles of the breath. And that is just happening. It is a deeply meditative and healing breath work. It's not one of these kind of breathing fast, or you can hold your breath with it, but it's just very gentle. I will demonstrate it. And in the demonstration, you may not even see it, but you will notice that even though I'm moving my jaw, my lips stay closed. And just doing it for myself, I just go somewhere else. I just go into a kind of transcendental place. As soon, it's instantaneous. As soon as I start doing it, I am just gone. It just became part of my breath from the beginning. So I'm just wandering around in a transcendental space all of the time. It's just continually healing and clearing stuff for me. So for the new people, you'll be learning that. Then we will be going on. I've kind of been preparing for the next webinar series where we will be working with the digestive system, all of the organs of the digestion, the organs, the lungs and heart, the brain, and the interaction between them and the different energy circuits. And I've been working a lot with that myself, and I just tend to teach what I'm working with. And that is quite an energetic, we work with the different energies, but what I've been working with is quite a physical thing, or at least what we're going to be doing tonight. We will end up working with the energies, but I want to teach some things first, because I find that a lot of people, including myself, have like food allergies, or they have IBS, or things with their colon, or things with their digestion, or inflammation, am I right? Yeah, I think I'm right. Whatever it is, when it gets too hot or whatever, in different organs, or their gut, or autoimmune things. And a lot of this is coming from the gut and the organs of the gut. It's also coming from the lungs and heart. But a lot of the reasons that it doesn't get resolved, or those patterns keep on getting on, is that the communication between the organs and the brain have broken down through whatever, trauma, disease, patterns, whatever, that communication has broken down. So I will be teaching a deeper breath into the abdomen, so that you can I'll be teaching holographic breathing, and then I'll be teaching how to get a deeper breath into the abdomen, so you get a bigger movement of the diaphragm, but without having to try, without it being like a big exercise or hard work. That's a bit counterproductive for me, where it's like, you know, where you're doing big, hard, heavy breaths. You know, it's more like being able to sink into the universe, and you get this much deeper expansion of the abdomen. And that comes anyway in holographic breathing. You get a deeper movement. But we will first I'll be showing you a way of just experiencing, so you get a deeper breath. And I'll just describe what I'm going to teach you. So once you've learned the holographic breathing, then a lot of people, you just can have their hands on their abdomen and feel it rising and falling. So you're feeling the abdomen kind of coming forwards in a way, and then coming back. And that is one way of breathing with the abdomen. It gets you quite deep. To get a bigger diaphragmatic breath, many people, or pretty well everybody, it's always in this, it always seems to be everybody other than me, say, oh, you've got to breathe with the intercostal muscles, which are the muscles at the side of the chest and the sides of the ribs and the lower ribs. They say that gets you in contact with your diaphragm. Well, all I can say is that doesn't get me in contact with my diaphragm. It might give me a deeper breath, but that takes me out of my abdomen and into my chest. And it's not surprising, because I'm breathing with the intercostal muscles, which are part of my chest and around the lower lungs, and I forgot what it's called, the fluid there in the lower ribs. To get a proper deep breath of the diaphragm that will come from the diaphragm and from the abdomen. For me, you don't come in contact with the intercostal muscles. You come in contact with the organs under the ribs, and you feel the organs expanding out sideways. Because, well, I don't know if you've noticed, maybe I'm different, but when I breathe with my abdomen, I don't feel my diaphragm going up and down. I feel my abdomen coming out and in different ways. Like if I'm breathing around the belly button, it feels as if my intestines are pushing. It doesn't feel like my diaphragm is pulling down. I don't feel the tightening of the muscles in the diaphragm. I feel the effect of that, which is the intestines pushing forwards into the, I feel like I'm pushing forwards with my intestines. It is the diaphragm, but that is edited out. So for the abdomen pushing forwards, you feel it as if you're pushing forwards from the abdomen and then relaxing it in on the out breath. And to feel the diaphragm and get in contact with a deeper diaphragmatic breath, you have the same, the feeling of the organs under the diaphragm, under the ribs, pushing the ribs out on the in-breath and bringing the ribs back in on the out-breath, sideways. And that will keep keep you in your abdomen, and that will be in contact with the diaphragm because those organs are pushing on the diaphragm. Because the diaphragm, you've got the ribs coming round and down like that, you've got the diaphragm coming round and down, you've got the organs inside, so this feeling of the organs pushing out, they're pushing out on the diaphragm, and they're pushing out on the ribs. It's a very interesting thing. The diaphragm is dropping and causing all of those things, so the diaphragm is pulling down, but we can do it in different ways. We can have the abdomen expanding and contracting, falls back, have it coming out sideways, or we can have it coming out backwards, so you feel like the kidneys expanding out and either sides of the spine expanding out, and they're caused by the diaphragm, but we work with the different muscles. Now, in holographic breathing, see, I just get too complicated. I can't help it. A lot of people just go to sleep through frustration, I think, because I just natter on about all these different levels and what's happening, and people just pass out. But actually, I think a lot of it is that I am so in tune with holographic breathing that I am used to the dream state that I will be talking about later. And just me talking starts taking people into the dream state. So if you feel yourself starting going, oh my God, here we go. It's not boredom. It might be boredom, but there's also a good chance that you're just changing level and there's this kind of sleep state. It's fine to pass out. You don't have to fight it. You can just pass in and out of consciousness. You can just use what I'm talking about as an energy. I'm prepping you for the meditation. I will talk about it in the meditation, but you may move in and out of consciousness. But when you start doing holographic breathing, you start being able to feel like a cellular, so it's not just like the diaphragm is dropping or the abdomen is expanding. It's like you can feel the cells in the organs, or you can feel the insides of the organs. It's like every cell is opening on the in-breath and every cell is closing, and that the abdomen and the cells breathe in a different way to how we picture it. We picture breathing from what the lungs do, and the lungs just expand in all different directions because there's an air pipe going to them, so they can do that. Everything else, for them to expand sideways, they have to contract in another direction because they're going to stay the same volume. So you get all of these cells and all of these organs of the abdomen. So you get this pressure of the diaphragm dropping, and you get, say this is the pelvic diaphragm, and the diaphragm up here breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and we experience breathing in, breathing out. See how that feels more like the breath, breathing in, because it's an expansion, breathing in, breathing out. But in reality, what's causing that, the muscles, breathing in and it expands, breathing out, it's relaxing and it narrows, and that's what all of the cells are doing. So with the holographic breathing, you can feel deep into your abdomen, you can feel the organs, you can feel the digestion, you can feel the gut tube, you can feel all of that, and all of the cells within that, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and you can feel the cells pushing the abdomen out forwards or contracting back in. You can feel all of the cells and the organs pushing the ribs out on the in-breath, allowing, so it brings it into a cellular motion. You can feel the cells pushing out backwards into the kidney area on the in-breath, coming back in on the out-breath. So you do get the motion of the diaphragm. And my breath, and I saw one other person describing the same way as I experience it, that I told to you, and he was showing the different amounts of breath that you get in your body. And if you just pressing forwards from the navel. He showed it, you got this balloon like that. But if you imagine pushing out under the diaphragm out to the side, you get about double the amount of breath. So this breathing of, and it is not the intercostal muscles. You're not getting in contact. I know they teach it in yoga. It's not you're getting in contact with the muscles of the ribs and trying to pull the ribs out, because that brings you up. That brings you into the chest. The muscles are of the chest. They are of the lungs. So it brings you up into a chest breath. But being in the organs of the abdomen, you're in the abdomen. So it keeps you below the diaphragm. But that gives you a much bigger amount of oxygen that is coming into the lungs. So you just learning that, you may double the size of your normal breathing. And we're going to do it in a very soft and gentle way. And I'll connect it a little bit. There is the up-down motion, and the diaphragm's dropping. For me, again, I'm against most people. Actually, a lot of people, I've been teaching this for over 20 years. Now people are actually coming around to what I'm saying. People teach the diaphragm drops, the pelvic floor drops, so they kind of come down together and go up. I don't. I don't know about normal breathing, but in holographic breathing, breathing in, the pelvic floor is getting pulled up. The diaphragm and the pelvic floor pull together on the in-breath, relax apart on the out-breath. And a good way to feel that, and it's the same as craniosacral therapy, it's like the rectum and the sacrum, where the tailbone is kind of slightly tucking under. That's the in-breath in craniosacral therapy. Same in holographic breathing. Breathing in, so you get this slight tucking under of the tailbone. The pelvis stays flat, but it's if the sacrum and your tailbone is just lifting slightly on the in-breath and then just dropping away. I may bring that in the meditation. I know people have a little bit of problem, but the people who find I'm going to slow down. I feel like I'm speeding to try and get all the information in. You can do that or not with it. So we're going to do that because the Spirit said I've got to do it really simply and I've got tons of stuff. We're just going to do it very simply. I'll just do it over a smaller amount of time and not go into it in so much depth. Then we're going to work with the dream state, which is going to connect us to that. Now, holographic breathing, the jaw is dropping on the in-breath and rising on the out-breath. And often people think that is happening from up here, but it's not. It's happening from below. And it's like these muscles around the trachea and around the esophagus, they tighten, and that pulls the jaw down, and they relax, and then the jaw rises. So it comes from below, and it comes from the diaphragm. The diaphragm drops, the heart drops, this all drops, the jaw drops, tongue drops, but the tongue stays on the roof mouth. The jaw can't drop far because the lips are closed. So it's connected to the diaphragm dropping. As the diaphragm drops, the jaw drops. Diaphragm rises, the jaw rises. But the cranial nerve that connects to these muscles and the muscles of the tongue, I've forgotten the name, the hypoglossal nerve. This takes people into a dream state, this nerve. And all I'm going to do is just say, bring your fingers around while you're doing the holographic. You can do it now if you're doing holographic breathing, but in the meditation I'll just get people to bring their fingers and thumb around here and just gently hold that, and then people can feel this expanding and contracting as those muscles are working with the holographic breathing. But they also come in contact with that nerve, and that going into the medulla oblongata, that the hypoglossal nerve goes into the medulla oblongata Above it, you've got the pons, and the pons is kind of, you've got the lower back of the head, the cerebellum, and it wraps around and becomes the pons. So this is the central brain complex. You've got the medulla oblongata, the pons, the midbrain, thalamus, and third eye. It's all in the center of the brain, but feeds right into that. And that, for me, seems to connect into the cerebellum, which, and I can feel the whole group going into it. Oh, people feel here, and then suddenly it's like everyone's going a bit sleepy and stuff. See, it's not me. It's not me doing it to you. It's the spirits, and it's the hypoglossal nerve. That nerve takes people into a transcendental, deep kind of sleep state. And I'm so used to it because I'm breathing all the time. I can be awake and be in that transcendental state. So we will be feeling that for a bit, and the transcendental state. For me, I just feel my brain going. As soon as I'm touching that, my brain is going. I feel it feeding into my brain in this deep sleep level. But also, this is kind of the top of the gut tube. And this goes all the way through your digestion and all the way through to the rectum. So with the cells, with this expanding on the in-breath and contracting top to bottom, narrowing on the out-breath and lengthening, you get that from here. See, these muscles that you'll feel them expanding, but what they're doing is they're shortening. To bring the jaw down, they're shortening on the in-breath and lengthening on the out-breath. But you feel it as a widening on the in-breath and a contracting on the out-breath. But that is happening through the whole, through the esophagus, the stomach, the duodenum, the small intestines, the large intestines, and the rectum. All the way through the gut tube, all the way through the organs, that there's this shortening and widening, the muscles contract, lengthening and narrowing as the muscles contract, relax. So what you would do naturally with the peristalsis, you can do it consciously with holographic breathing, in that the whole, on the in-breath, the whole gut tube shortens and widens and tightens. And the whole gut tube lengthens and narrows and relaxes on the out-breath. And it doesn't mean you do it hard, you just feel there. You become aware of your rectum and the sacrum slightly lifting. You become aware of this slightly falling, and they're pulling together. And then you start being able to feel that whole tract between them. And you can literally massage your digestive tract and your organs just from holding there. You become. And so for things like IBS, all those, the different diseases of the colon, the different digestive upsets, the leaky gut, the bad immune system, all of those different things. In the same way as consciously you become aware of your lungs breathing, and you can make your lungs breathe. Good job you don't have to do that all the time, or we would be dead. The nervous system will do it on its own, and the same way as the nervous system will do the gut tube, we can do it with holographic breathing. You get this lengthening, shortening, widening, lengthening and narrowing. You can feel that from there, so you can get this sensation through your whole gut tube. So we'll do that for a little bit. And then we'll come to this. This is the third nerve. This is the accessory nerve that's coming to whatever this muscle's called. I'm dyslexic. I can't remember the names, but it's the mastoid. I don't know. Anyway, you've got the mastoid process here, and then this muscle, sternocleidomastoid muscle, something like that. And this connects to the lungs. And this is the accessory nerve. And that is to do with lifting the chest at the front and then letting it relax down. So here connects you to a different energy system in the lungs. And you feel it expanding. You don't see, because we've had the shortening edited out of our consciousness. We just feel an expansion. But this connects you to the abdomen, the digestive tract. This connects you to the lungs. And what we work with the lungs, so it's a different, in the advanced webinar series, we'll be working with this as part of the yellow energies, which are the tongue, the esophagus, the trachea, the stomach, and the spleen. This area is to do with the lung circuit, which is the lungs, the colon, the rectum, and the central brain complex. So we'll be connecting to that and the accessory nerve, which is the 11th cranial nerve. And then we'll come back to where the trapezius is, and that's also the accessory nerve, because with our normal breathing, none of this goes on, so I wouldn't be able to explain it. But in holographic breathing, the jaw is being pulled down, the tongue is being pulled down, because the lips are being closed. It's putting this pressure through the whole face, because the tongue connected. So if only that happened, that pull the head down on the in-breath, relax it back up on the out-breath. So it has to be balanced from the back. So this pulls down here, tightens here. The trapezius muscle at the back, the muscles at the back also very subtly contract, and this pulls the whole skull down onto the spine. You opens on the in-breath, closes. It brings into activation the same cranial motion that people palpate in craniosacral therapy. It pulls the cranium down from the front, from the back, from the sides, onto the spine. The spine shortens and widens on the in-breath, lengthens and narrows on the out-breath. But in that subtle, gentle motion, all opens in a myriad of different ways on the in-breath, closes. So the whole face, the whole cranium, the whole brain starts to breathe in holographic breathing. And we'll be feeling that at the back. And these points at the back here connect us much more to the deep earth energies, which is the first webinar we will be working with next Sunday, which is to do with the very heavy, deep energies in the back of the body, in the back lower of the body, the liver, the pancreas, duodenum, and gallbladder. Very powerful, strong, deep, grounded energies. And then we'll be connecting to the higher self, beneficial energies, and the universe, and all of that. So I know they told me to make it simple, but it was just too late. I had all of that lined up, but I will try and make it as simple as possible in the meditation. If you're new, if all you learn to do is holographic breathing, that is fine. And you can play the meditation because this will be recorded. There'll be a YouTube video and you can watch it on YouTube. So I'm just wondering whether to do it before or I'll do it now. I will describe and demonstrate it again, and then we'll do the meditation. And actually, I think we can probably go through it fairly quickly and in an easy way. And yeah, I think it'll be all right. So in holographic breathing, the lips are relaxed. And all of this, I'm going to talk you through it in the meditation. So you don't have to remember this, but it's good to be prepped. The lips are relaxed and closed. Upper surface of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. On the in-breath, the jaw is relaxing open. On the out-breath, the jaw relaxing closed. All done with the lips closed, with the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So I will just demonstrate again. So lovely. It's just so gorgeous to breathe like that. Brilliant. So I'll put a link, by the way, to next Sunday's webinar series is in the chat. So if you want to come to that, you can. A couple of things from the chat. The nerves I mentioned, it includes all of the cranial nerves, which all go into the central brain complex for holographic breathing. But the three main ones are the hypoglossal nerve and the accessory nerve, and the one I didn't mention was the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve obviously is the sensory experience that we are getting. It gets all of the organs working, but we get to feel what's going on in the organs through the vagus nerve. But how it interacts with holographic breathing, it is the vagus nerve that is bringing the back of the tongue up onto the roof of the mouth. So just having the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and then this up-down motion of the jaw and the tongue, because the tongue is stuck up here, but there's a pulling down on the tongue which does this suckling motion, and that is continually massaging the vagus nerve. So the whole vagus nerve very much part of it. For the new people, for the learning of this, it's good to be seated, because as I mentioned, it's really easy to go to sleep. So until it's activated, until it's just going and you're happy with it and it's just happily going, for new people it's best to be seated so that you're more likely to stay awake. So to learn holographic breathing first time, it's good to be seated. But once it's activated and once it's going, which won't be too far in, you know, once I start taking it down and we're working with the different breaths in the abdomen, it should be going. It's fine to lie down. And for these holdings around the neck, they're much easier to do lying down. You can do them seated quite easily, but they're also quite comfortable lying down because your arms can just rest on top of you or the sides of you when you're doing it. So new people, for the learning of it, good to be sitting. You may find it easier lying down as we get into the meditation. So making yourselves ready and closing your eyes, sending a smile, sending some energy to the earth, and allowing the earth to say hello back. And notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. And sending a smile, sending some energy to the higher self and beneficial energies, and allowing the higher self and beneficial energies to say hello back. Beneficial energies, any divine beings, any intelligences you work with, divine energies, sending a smile, sending some energy to the higher self and the beneficial energies. As long as they're beneficial, that's all that matters. And letting the higher self and the beneficial energies say hello back. And notice what that feels like through your body and through your energies. and asking the higher self, the earth, the higher self, and the beneficial energies to be with you through the whole meditation as your guide and resource. So you're totally resourced within yourself. The lips are relaxed and closed. The upper surface of the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, and as much as feels comfortable. The tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth, and as much of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So it may be ½ an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, maybe an inch of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, or maybe the whole tongue is on the roof of the mouth. But the main thing, the only thing that counts, is as much as feels comfortable. The lips are relaxed and closed, the tongue is on the roof of the mouth, the breath is through the nose. And with the lips closed, just gently moving the jaw up and down, just to get the experience that you can move your jaw and keep your lips closed and the tongue on the roof of the mouth. We do this every day when we're eating. We move our jaw and keep our lips closed. So notice you can move your jaw and keep your lips closed. And just a gentle up-down motion of your jaw, and letting that slow down so it becomes much slower. And then when you feel ready, as the jaw is opening, letting the breath come in through your nose. And as the jaw is closing, letting the breath leave through your nose. The jaw relaxes open, letting the breath come in through your nose. The jaw gently closes, letting the breath leave through your nose. Whoops. Notice how it feels like a little pump. Jaw gently open, it draws the breath in through your nose. The jaw gently closes, the breath relaxes out through your nose. The teeth are separating as the jaw opens. The teeth coming back together as your jaw is closing, but it just floats together. There's no pressure in the teeth. Jaw gently opening, the teeth are gently separating, breathing out, they're floating back together. They may just touch, or they can be slightly separate. Relaxing the back of the neck, relaxing the back of the head. The jaw relaxes open, the breath comes in, the jaw relaxes closed, the breath leaves. Now we're going to change the gestalt, moving the awareness from the jaw to the nose. As you breathe, we're going to change it round now, so it's more the breath is moving the jaw now. As you breathe in, the jaw relaxes open. As you breathe out, the jaw relaxes closed. The lips stay closed all of the time. The tongue stays on the roof of the mouth all of the time. Breathing in, the jaw relaxes open. Breathing out, the jaw relaxes closed. Notice how relaxing it feels. Notice how meditative it feels. Notice how you go into a different state of awareness. You may feel energies traveling through your spine and through your brain and through your body. Breathing in, the chest is opening and the jaw is opening. Breathing out, the chest is closing and the jaw is closing. Breathing in, the abdomen is opening and the jaw is opening. Breathing out, the abdomen is closing, the jaw is closing. Notice how easily you can get nice, slow, deep breaths into your abdomen without trying to have to force anything. The abdomen opens, your jaw relaxes open, your abdomen closes, your jaw gently closes. Notice you can get right down into your pelvis. Breathing in, the pelvis opening out to the sides. Breathing out, the pelvis relaxing back together immediately. You can feel it in the arms and legs. The arms and legs opening as you breathe in. The arms and legs closing as you breathe out. You can feel it in the hands and feet. Hands and feet opening as you breathe in. Hands and feet closing as you breathe out. You can feel it through every cell. It's as if you can feel every cell opening on the in-breath and the jaw opens along with them. Breathing out, every cell closes and the jaw closing with it. Notice how in a very subtle way your whole face has started to breathe. Your cranium has started to breathe. Your brain and neck, they've all started to breathe. Your whole body, all of the organs, your brain, everything is gently breathing. And the jaw is just following along. It starts from the jaw. It's like starting an old-fashioned car where you turn the thing around. The jaw starts it, but once it's going, it just becomes part of the breath, of this whole body breathing. And you move into this altered state of consciousness. You move into a deep sense of relaxation and meditation. And we're going to start breathing more deeply with the abdomen. So people don't generally feel the diaphragm, but you can feel it as if your digestive system is pushing your abdomen forwards as you breathe in. It's like a pressure from within is pushing your tummy button and the front of the abdomen out as you breathe in. And it's all relaxing back as you breathe out. But notice it feels like your organs are doing that your gut is doing that the pressure, your digestive system is pushing your abdomen out as you breathe in, and then relaxing back in as you breathe out. And get a much deeper breath into the abdomen. And the same way that you feel it at the front of the abdomen, now come under the ribs. And the ribs at the side, if you feel your ribs at the side, they're only about an inch above the top of your pelvis. It's not like they're right up high. The side ribs come down really low. And you can just feel the organs under the ribs in the same way as you felt the organs pushing out the front, now feeling the organs pushing the ribs out sideways. Notice how you get a much longer, deeper breath. Breathing out, the organs are relaxing and the ribs are coming back in. So notice how you stay in the abdomen if you feel the sides of your abdomen pushing the ribs out as you breathe in. All of those organs pushing the ribs out. They're actually pushing the diaphragm and then the ribs out. And you start being able to breathe around into your back, and you get this much more profound, deep breath. Breathing out, they all relax back in, but you're feeling the pressure from within. Now we're going to change that. We're just going to feel it for a while, but notice how you come up into the chest. Now, this is how many people describe it, coming into your intercostal muscles between the ribs, your ribs opening on the in-breath. Notice how it does open the ribs, but it brings you up into the chest. And sides of the ribs coming back in, but you've changed a level of consciousness. You've moved from the abdomen into the chest. You become aware of the lungs, the chest and heart. It's not really part of the diaphragm for me. Breathing out, the ribs contract back in. Now coming back down into the abdomen, first feeling it at the front, expanding out at the front, relaxing back in. You drop down, you change a level of consciousness. With holographic breathing, as you move into these different areas, you change consciousness. You can feel your consciousness change as you move into your digestion. And then coming to the organs under the ribs at the side, and they're pushing out from the inside, pushing your ribs out on the in-breath. And relaxing back in on the out-breath. And it gives you this profound, deeper breath. And you can also feel it at the back, as if your kidneys and lower back are pushing out from inside, and your kidneys are getting pressed out, your lower back is getting pressed out. So you really get the breath into your back there. As this is happening, if you wish to feel this, you feel it pressing the ribs out and the back out. Just feel, as that happens, your rectum and your tailbone and sacrum is very lightly pulling up. So the pelvic floor is lifting, the sacrum lifts, the rectum and coccyx lift. and everything expands. Notice you can get a much longer, deeper breath. It's all expanding, just feeling that very gentle lift, and that adds to the lift if you have the vertical, adds to the depth of the breath. Much slower, much longer breath. It's another new breath. It's including the up, down as well as the sideways. Breathing out, it's all contracting in and just feeling your rectum relaxing down, your tailbone relaxing down. Breathing in, it's all expanding out to the sides and backwards, tailbone gently lifting up, rectum gently lifting up. Breathing out, all relaxing. So we've moved from a forwards, backwards to a sideways, and now a sideways and an up and down. And these are all different levels of consciousness, different feelings, different experience. Expanding out to the sides and back and gently lifting the rectum and coccyx. Or it gently lifts on its own. All relaxing back in, and it drops. And notice as this happens, it expands to the sides and back and the rectum lifts. Notice how you get this release of energy, a release of kundalini up your spine and through your brain. Breathing out, it's relaxing back in, the rectum drops back down. Breathing in, it all expands to the sides and backwards, the rectum kind of lightly lifting, lightly, subtly tightening. You get this release of kundalini. You feel it going through your back, through your brain, and up into the higher self. Breathing out, it's all relaxing back in, the tailbone, the rectum relax back down. So this vertical motion of the breath governs your kundalini. Expanding out to the sides and backwards, get this slight tightening and rising of the coccyx and rectum. Longer, slower breath, and this release of energy through your spine, through your brain, and up into the higher energies. Then becoming aware, moving up to the intercostal muscles in the sides of the ribs. Notice you rise up into the chest. And then in the chest, it's a different breath. You don't have this up-down motion in the chest. It's just an expansion. The lungs just expand in all directions. Doesn't so much connect to the rectum and tailbone. And it's not part of the digestion either, you see. But with the intercostal muscles, you come up into the chest, you come up into the lungs, and this just expands in all directions on the in-breath, contracts in all directions on the out-breath. Different layer of consciousness, different feel. And breathing with the abdomen and the chest together. And then bringing your hand up. You may want to do this lying down, so top of your throat, thumb and fingers either side of the trachea and esophagus, just very gently. Being aware of the chest breathing, being aware of the abdomen breathing. This will bring you into the abdomen. This is the yellow energy circuit. But to start off with, just being aware of that area, and with that, what is making that breath, what is making that movement in those muscles and the tongue, is the hypoglossal nerve. And it connects into the central brain complex, and it connects into the cerebellum and this dream state. Notice you go into a different level of consciousness. And this dreamy, half awake, half asleep consciousness. Notice how it connects to your anus. It connects to the whole gut tube. Connects to the lungs through the trachea and the bronchial tubes, and it connects to the whole gut tube through the esophagus. So there's this deeper, dreamlike state that many people just move in and out of sleep with, where you're not really asleep, you're kind of still aware, but may go to sleep at the same time. It's a dream state. Very relaxing, very comforting. It's like holographic breathing is like a subtle form of suckling, and this is probably why babies pass out after suckling. It's probably why it's, mothers want their babies to be quiet. They put them on the breast and it activates the hypoglossal nerve and puts the baby to sleep after a while. But also notice how it activates your whole digestion. And you can feel right through to the rectum. You can feel your rectum and throat pulling towards each other. So the whole gut tube is shortening and widening through all of the intestines, shortening and widening as you breathe in. Whole gut tube and organ lengthening and narrowing and relaxing as you breathe out. So notice you can breathe all of your organs and all of the gut tube. Pulling together and expanding on the in-breath. Breathing apart and lengthening on the out-breath. So this connects you very much to your stomach. This is the yellow energies that connect you to your tongue, to your stomach, esophagus and spleen. But also you can breathe through your whole digestion. Okay, now coming to either side, you've got the mastoid process behind the ears. You just drop down just below that onto the muscle. This will connect you to the lungs and chest. Notice how you've come up into your lungs and chest. This is the accessory nerve. You can still breathe with your abdomen, but you feel a much more profound breath with your lungs. And again, you can feel the accessory nerve also goes into the medulla oblongata. You can feel this sleepy, different level of consciousness. It's different to the throat, but it's still going right into the medulla oblongata, central brain complex. We're not going to spend too long there. Now coming to the very back, in the middle, at the top, so you're touching kind of the top vertebrae, and then just come out centimetre on either side, and you're on the top of the, trapezius muscle. The accessory nerve again going into the medulla oblongata. And this is connecting through the whole spine, right down to the tailbone, right down to the rectum, but through the spine rather than through the digestion. And this is connecting to a deep earth energy. Notice how it goes dark, very grounded, very physical. Feel your tailbone lifting and your rectum lifting on the in-breath. It's like the whole spine shortens and widens. Tailbone lifts. Whole spine relaxes and lengthens and narrows. Tailbone drops. Deep, profound, slow breath. Okay, and you can just let your hands come away from that. We've done quite a lot of hard work, so just breathing gently in your own way. But being aware of that point at the top back there, and also the whole lower back of the cranium and the deep, low energy there. Back of the jaw, deep, grounded. This is the deep earth energies. Your sit bones, the heels of the hands and the heels of the feet. And just relaxing with that very deep earth grounded energy. This will connect with your liver. So we're just working energetically now. Connects to your liver and pancreas, gallbladder, duodenum, just breathing however feels comfortable. That's the lower shoulder blades. Deep earth energy. And just because they're deep earth energies doesn't mean they don't connect to the higher self. You feel the deep earth grounded energy. You also feel how this connects to the deep earth grounded energies in the higher self, in the beneficial energies. Now we're just moving on to that lovely energy level. It's similar to a Tibetan healing system. Feel the back of your head, the back of your jaw, sit bones, lower shoulder blades, the heels of the hands and feet, the deep earth energy, the liver, pancreas, gallbladder, duodenum, healing. Feel these connecting up through your body allowing them to connect to your brain and to the higher self. Allowing the higher self to say hello back. Just breathing gently. Just feeling that through all of your organs, through all of your body, all of the different energies. Through your brain, through your digestion, through your lungs, heart, through your brain, through your genitalia. How you can breathe, how holographic breathing gives you an access to all of your organs, how they all breathe, access to your brain and how your brain breathes. Access to the higher self and the divine realms. We're going to come back in about a minute. And sending a thank you to the earth. A thank you to the higher self and beneficial energies. And a thank you to yourself. Letting the energies go off for love and healing to the earth. For love and healing to the higher self and beneficial energies. And allowing yourself to be loved and healed. And when you feel ready, gently allowing yourself to come back. We will be working with the organs in much more depth in a 6-part series. There's a link to that in the comments. And there'll be a link to it in a newsletter I send out to you all. It'll have the recordings from this, and it will have a link to that webinar series. And we will work with all of the organs, all of the different energy systems, the brain, and different parts of the brain are part of it. But I really, for the healing of diseases and the healing of these autoimmune diseases and digestive problems and illnesses in general, I really want to make ground in the communication between the organs and the brain, and the communication between the brain and the higher self, because I feel a lot of our evolution, spiritual evolution, and moving forwards, evolving into the new age, is that is the way forwards for me. There's just so much knowledge, endless. It's forever ongoing knowledge in that area, and health and well-being and understanding of ourselves and the universe in those relationships. But I just feel that I just hear it so much from people having trouble with their digestion in different ways, with different organs, including the heart, including the lungs, and including the brain, that I just want to move forward so that people can heal themselves in more depth with that. So we will be starting that next Sunday. If you want to come along, you can you can register from that link. And if you have any questions about it, you can email me. And I'm going to put my headphones on. I hope I haven't overworked you. I have a feeling that I've overworked everyone. Some people shaking their heads. I find it much easier when I've got a lot more spiritual energy, when I'm channeling more strongly, because I get all of this help. But because it was so physical, because it was so much with the breath, I'm not getting so much channeling. But I think it hopefully will give people something that may be very useful.